This trip we're headed west to California. But before we get there, I have a stop I've been wanting to make for a long time. Saguaro National Park. As it turns out, it's actually two parks, Saguaro East and Saguaro West, each on opposite sides of Tucson, Arizona. I've seen those towering cacti in plenty of videos, but Karen and I wanted to experience them for ourselves. We arrived at Saguaro East just before noon, and it was already a scorching 100 degrees, so camping was off the table. We drove the loop a couple of times to take in the sights, then headed into Tucson to find a hotel and wait out the heat. Hoping for cooler temperatures in the evening, I planned to visit Saguaro West around sunset. But no luck, it was still well over 100 degrees. After visiting both parks, I have to say, Saguaro West is a better spot if you want to see those giants in their most natural settings. The dirt roads winding through the landscape really added to the experience. And if you know me, I'm always down for a good dirt road. Yesterday, seeing those giant cacti up close got me thinking about Joshua Tree National Park. I've always wanted to visit there, so we pulled up the map and saw it wasn't too far off our intended route out to California. Anyway, we got up early the next morning so we could hit the park just in time to see the sun rise over the mountains.
Still no service.
Our first stop was a cactus garden. Just fair warning, heed the signs and don't wander off the path. They call these a teddy bear cactus. I guess it's because they look so soft and harmless. But take it from me, they'll jump right out and grab you if you're not careful. And yes, I did have a small run-in with one of those so-called teddy bears. Should have had Karen filming that one. You see these little balls down here? If you walk past them, they just leap up on you. And I just got stung by one on my sock. These little suckers will just jump out and grab you. Eventually we made it to the northern side of the park where we finally started seeing some Joshua trees. This area up ahead with the rock outcrops is really popular with the climbers, but no climbers visible today, probably just too hot. From Joshua Tree, we had a long drive up Highway 395, where we would eventually turn into the mountains and head over towards Sequoia National Park. Yesterday we made it to the southeast edge of Sequoia National Park. We wound our way up through the mountain fire roads and found a great camp spot up in the national forest. Now that we were in higher elevations, the temperatures were in the 70s, which really a pleasant change from where it had been. And it would have made for a perfect night for a campfire if the wind hadn't picked up right after dinner, sending us to bed early. The next morning we woke up to the sun rising over the mountains and temps in the low 40s. So while I packed up the gear, Karen fixed breakfast. Then we headed out to see what the day had in store for us. I had just assumed that most of these roads up here would be dirt, but to my surprise, much of the drive was single-lane blacktop winding through the trees. I'm going to have to be careful. Roads like this might spoil Karen. It was down. I tried to go. There's that sun.
Oh, there we go. We're at 68 now. And climbing. 69.
So it was. At one point we came across a road closed sign. That's pretty common on our trips, but this time the detour actually worked out in our favor. I'd always known about the two sequoia groves in California, Grants Grove and Mariposa Grove, but I didn't realize there's actually a third, the Trail of 100 Giants. So it ended up being the perfect afternoon stop, a peaceful walk through the towering trees. Do we want to get out and walk down in there?
That's up to you. I don't know if they would have had one out. Still no service. It's not necessarily as much crippled as just she doesn't want to fall while she's looking up. Because that one is the sugar pine.
Yeah.
Oh, you can walk through it. They said Clinton signed a proclamation under this tree, the Antiquities Act or something. Yeah.
Huh. Hey, check this out. Karen spotted these two owls perched up in the tree right above our trail. From our camp last night, we headed west towards Portersville before turning north into the more heavily visited Sequoia National Park. This drive took us through rolling hills and farmland, a completely different feel from the forest we'd been in. At one point, Karen pointed out how dry everything looked and how easily a grass fire could start in this part of the country. Eventually, we made it into the park and worked our way towards Grant's Grove. Stopped here to get our picture. As we waited for our turn, a lady offered to take our picture for us. She was giving us directions and snapping away. Later, when we looked at the phone, it looked like she had taken about 30 pictures. By the way, this area was a lot more crowded than the Trail of 100 Giants. Still, I have to admit, I never get tired of these big sequoias. But with their size, it sure does make it difficult to shoot a video or take pictures.
They're not as tall as the redwoods, though, is what he was saying. Ranger, right?
Yeah.
The redwoods are taller.
While we were walking the trail, we suddenly heard a loud cracking sound. A massive limb came crashing down not far from where we were. So yeah, I guess the answer to the question, if a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear it? Yeah, we heard it.
In height and age.
Close to the width of what?
Check out the size of this limb. They say it's over 7 foot in diameter. After our walk through the big sequoias, we made our way up this forest road looking for a place to camp. Turned out to be a really nice drive into the backcountry. Later on that afternoon, we were lucky enough to snag one of the last available campsites at Big Meadow Campground. We've noticed a lot of these campgrounds, spots show a reserve sign, but then nobody ever shows up to camp. So I think a lot of folks are reserving them just in case they're going to be there. Kind of frustrating. Today we are headed into Kings Canyon. The drive down into Kings Canyon was beautiful, especially at the lower elevations along the river. But it's a one-way in and a one-way out kind of place. And aside from the waterfall at the very back, well, let's just say there's better spots in the area to explore.
We're not even to the bottom halfway.
I thought I saw a road that's down in here.
No. There's a big flat. There's a river runs down there.
There's into the cavern. Oh yeah, you see people up there.
Are they coming up or coming down?
It looks like they were coming down.
Yeah, they're coming down.
Originally our plan was to head into Yosemite and spend a few days there. But Yosemite now requires reservations just to enter the park, and we didn't have any. So I fired up the Starlink and Karen started hunting for an open date. She got lucky and found us a campsite right in the heart of Yosemite. Only catch was it wasn't for another 3 days. No problem. We'll just adjust our plans. We'll come into Yosemite from the east side in a few days. In the meantime, we'll explore some of the areas farther north. That's a great thing about traveling in the Jeep. It gives us plenty of flexibility. For tonight, though, we'll drive into Fresno for a proper shower and a real bed. With our Yosemite plans on hold for a few days, we continue north along the highway towards Buckhorn. Did I mention the prices of gas out here?
Do you think they come in through here and cut down the trees that have burned? Because they all look like
Yeah,
none of them look like they have bark on them. But there are some that are burnt. But
I think they strip the bark. When they stack them, they try to.
well, they missed some of them.
Well, of course, Karen.
But I'm just saying, all these dead trees. I mean, they still ought to be usable. I guess I don't know what.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think as long as they don't rot and they get them down soon enough.
Yeah, like that one was sketchy.
But I think at Buckhorn we turned off the highway and got back into the kind of travel I really enjoy. Backcountry forest roads.
Well, that other area over there that we just drove through, there's a bunch of trees in there. They may not have gotten there. They may wait for it to so long after the fire. Would that be considered kiln treated wood?
No.
Well, it's already been through the fire. Fire treated.
This route eventually led us to the Bear River Reservoir. All of the camping spots on the lake were taken, so we had to settle for a quiet spot just up the hill a ways from the lake. So what are we working on here?
Ron requested this meal. Biscuits and sausage for dinner. And I'm going to fix me some eggs with the biscuits and sausage.
That'll work.
I just want some heat. I'm cold.
You're cooking. You're by the oven. You got your heat.
Yeah, well, I can't cook like this, and there's nothing down on my legs heating anything, so. Yeah, good old canned biscuits. I forgot to get the jelly out of the cooler.
I'll get that after
Yeah, we'll get that in a bit. Whew. All right, I think we're ready here. Drop it.
Well, let's see how these look. They're getting there.
I think they're done.
Think so?
I
Okay.
think they're ready.
Oh, don't do that in the back of my Jeep. I don't want them on the roof of the Jeep.
I wonder if I can do it. I did it at cooking school.
You don't want to. Okay.
I don't know if I can do it.
What if you mess it up? You got more eggs.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you're making me nervous with that camera. Let me turn this off. Ready?
Yeah. Oh, way to go!
And we both doubted me. Yes, we did. Okay,
Think we're ready to eat.
I think you're ready.
Today we're going to work our way across the mountains heading east. Our final destination will be Bridgeport, but for now we have a lot of ground to cover. We started off on this single-lane blacktop winding its way through the forest. I'm still curious why so many California forest roads are paved. Maybe it's to help with access during fire season. Makes sense, I guess, especially out here. A bad shot. Yeah. Man, that's No, they're not shooting at us. This reminded me of a flume ride from an amusement park. Turns out it was a Tiger Creek conduit, a water channel that runs for quite a ways along the mountainside. It was impressive to see it snaking through the forest like that.
What's this little pump house?
Huh. I wonder what that was
I don't know.
originally. We followed this stream for quite a bit, and there was plenty of dispersed camping along the way. But once the trail started climbing away from the stream, the road got narrower. And as we made our way up into the mountain, the switchbacks got tighter, and the trail got more overgrown. In fact, I was starting to wonder if we were going to hit a dead end.
Straight down.
Kind of hanging on the edge.
Yeah. I just keep thinking what you said. Well, the trees will stop us.
What's the altitude?
32.
Oh wow, that's not high at all.
We're gonna be climbing and switchbacking.
Oh, I see it on the map. Yeah.
Mhm. It's a rough road.
Well, I'd like to get up high where we can get some views. Finally, we made it to the top, and it opened up to some beautiful views. And that's a good thing, because the trail was not wide enough to turn around if we had to. This area is Lake Alpine. Looked like it had some great camping spots, but it was too early in the day for us. Our destination is Bridgeport. Bridgeport's a small town, really popular with the motorcycle riders running the Northern California Backcountry Discovery Route. When we got to Bridgeport, we got the last available room with only one catch. It had a single double bed. Not exactly luxury accommodations, but after Karen and I stopped laughing, I said, we'll take it. Today we're going to make our way to Yosemite. But first I have another place I want to visit. From Bridgeport we took this scenic road across the mountains into Bodie State Park. Bodie's an old mining town from the late 1800s, and quite a few of the original buildings are still standing. It was fun walking past those weathered structures, imagining what life might have been like back then. I like to think I would have been the town blacksmith, fixer of all things. No 6-shooter on my hip, just a hammer in my hand. This bed looks about the same size as what we slept in last night. I sure could have used a wall on my side last night to keep me from hanging over the edge. This little fellow was just happy to have somebody's table scraps this morning. Other than the dust, the general store and saloon probably does not look much different from how it did back then. The round piece with all the slots was the post office where you picked up your mail. From Bodie, it was a short drive back to the highway, and then a 45-minute drive to Lee Vining, where we would head west into Yosemite National Park. Then we had another 2-hour drive just to get into Yosemite Valley, where our camp spot had been reserved. After checking into the campground, we headed out to see the sights. Our first stop was Bridalveil Falls. As you can see from this time lapse, there was quite a bit of traffic. I knew it was a good day to be Ron when it was our turn. A perfect parking spot opened up. I slipped right in like it had been reserved just for us.
You got this.
Right off, Karen volunteered to take their picture. Hopefully she won't fill up their phone with 30-plus pictures like the lady did the other day. Did I mention how crowded it is here? Next came the main attraction, Yosemite's El Capitan. Karen and I could stand here for hours watching the climbers as they methodically work their way up this massive granite face. And if climbing all day is enough of a challenge, many of them spend the night in portages, those little tents they attach right to the rock. Not for the faint of heart, and definitely not for me. Next, we made our way to the third of the California major sequoia groves, Mariposa Grove. Back in 2002, when we last visited here, it was my favorite. At that time, they had a tram that you would ride to the top. Then you could walk back down through the big sequoias at your own pace. These days, it's a bit more of a workout. You have to hike up and back down. Covered about 7 miles total with a 1,200-foot elevation gain. We took a pass on that trail and took a much shorter 2-mile loop. that wraps up our stay in Yosemite. I would have liked to stay another night, but we just couldn't find another reservation available in the campground. Tomorrow we'll move on and head to Saguaro mining town. Today we're headed to the Saguaro mine, but instead of just taking Highway 395 south, I wanted to follow a more scenic route. We turned off the highway and ran along the shoreline of Mono Lake. Out past these rocks, they say this was a filming location for Clint Eastwood's High Plains Drifter. I don't see much out there anymore, so I'll just have to take their word for it. The rock formations out in the lake are called tufa towers. They are calcium deposits created as the calcium-rich spring water bubbles up through the lake. Our first stop is the remains of Mono Mill, a lumber community established to supply wood to the mining town of Bodie, which we had visited a few days ago. At its peak, a narrow gauge railroad carried timber 32 miles up to Bodie. All that remains today is a kiosk telling of the town's story and a few old foundation pieces from the sawmill. Shortly after leaving Mono Mills, we left the pavement behind and took to the forest roads, back towards 395. What caught my eye was how open these forests were, and how straight and slender these Jeffrey pines are. This is a unique looking forest. It just looks so, there's not a lot of underbrush and stuff.
Well, they had a fire in 2001, and all of this underbrush is mainly sage and...
Back on Blacktop, we set our sights on Mammoth Lakes. I'd always heard how beautiful the area is, so we decided to venture in and see for ourselves. This viewpoint of the minarets was definitely worth the stop. Lake Mary with the waterfall and snow-capped mountains in the background made for a great photo. From here we made our way back to Highway 395. It was about this time I started thinking about lunch. The next town ahead was Bishop, so I asked Karen to start looking for a place to eat. And boy, she found a gem. Eric Schatz's Bakery. My mouth is watering just looking at this video. Incredible sandwiches and a whole lot of sweets. I don't think I've ever been in a bakery with such a large selection. My mouth was watering. What'd you find?
Deluxe raisin bread.
Okay, that'll work.
Oh, do you want it with cinnamon though? This is cinnamon raisin bread. Would you rather that?
Sure. No, I'd rather just have regular raisin bread.
Got the cinnamon?
Yeah.
We'll get a loaf of that. The bag makes it look worse. It's just a loaf of bread, pancake mix, and then a loaf of bread mix, or a thing of bread mix to make bread with. It'll help when I get home. I'll make it.
Okay.
And it's all for you, my love.
Yes. Tucked high in the mountains, Saguaro is an old silver mining town from the late 1800s. It was once one of the richest and rowdiest boom towns in California. The road up to Saguaro is no joke. Steep, narrow, 8-mile road with a 1-mile climb in elevation. Definitely a Jeep kind of road. In 2018, the property was purchased by Brent Underwood, who's been restoring the town and sharing its story on his YouTube channel, Ghost Town Living. In 2020, the American Hotel caught fire and burned down, a blow to Brent's restoration efforts. But true to his spirit, he's been rebuilding the hotel with hopes of welcoming guests sometime in the next year or so. When we were there, they had just completed the exterior siding. You got paid?
Yes. This is where you would assess what you had and value it. Come on in, big boy.
We wandered through what remains of the town, taking in its stories. Then we made our way back down the mountain with the sweeping views of the valley stretched out in front of us. Okay.
Now for the descent. That looks like it used to be a building
Yeah.
that had windows, boxes for the windows.
other long times where we came
I
through.
don't know where we're going.
I'll look to get that down. After our visit to Saguaro yesterday, we grabbed a hotel in Lone Pine so we could get an early start the next day and head into Death Valley to beat some of the heat. I expected Death Valley to be mostly flat desert, but from this viewpoint I was surprised by the colorful mountain landscapes all around us. We rolled up on this Toyota Prius that had caught fire just a few days earlier. I'm told this happens more often than you think, vehicles overheating in the extreme heat. All I can say is I kept a close eye on my temperature gauge for the rest of the day. Another surprise was this oasis in the desert, an actual patch of lush greenery surrounding a hotel right in the middle of nowhere. Incredible how something so green could even survive out here. They call this area the Artist Palette. I call it too hot to paint. Next up was Badwater Basin, the lowest point in North America, sitting 282 feet below sea level. From a distance, the salt flats look like a shimmering lake, but up close it's a crust of white salt stretching as far as the eye can see. Temperatures here routinely hit 120 degrees, but we lucked out today, it was only 105. As we exited Death Valley and headed back to civilization, Karen spotted a sign for the world's largest thermometer. I said, why not? So we made our way to Baker, California just to say we saw it. Well, that pretty much does it for this trip. Now it's time to start that long trip back home.